everyone. Welcome to GoLocal Live with the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. I'm Molly O'Brien. I'm pleased to welcome Providence City Council President David Salvatore. How you doing?
I'm great, Molly. How are you? Happy New Year.
I'm good. Happy New Year. Thank you so much for joining us. So
Thanks
this is although you've been on Providence City Council serving Ward 14 since 2010, this is the first time that you're appearing on GoLocal Live as City Council President. So that's exciting.
It is exciting.
It is exciting. So we're glad to have you, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Let's start off the conversation by talking about all the snow that's outside. The streets are looking okay. Let's talk a little bit about your thoughts on how the city of Providence had responded to the snowstorm. The streets look pretty good. It's interesting. I was watching this live feed. I think it was like of the Weather Channel. It was of downtown Providence. It was a national feed. It was like a time-lapse video. And I saw people out on the streets. It was the city of Providence. The downtown improvement district, the crews were out there. They were responding. There were plows out. Talk to me about how the city you think responded to yesterday's storm and how you think the cleanup effort is going.
I have to tip my cap to our team in DPW. Our Public Works Department did a phenomenal job under very difficult circumstances, as you can see. Just by the volume of snow outside of the studio. They were challenged with some variables such as visibility issues, the high volume of snow, not a lack of resources, but obviously we try to keep spending down and spend where areas that are important, and that's in public works. Obviously, taxpayers don't expect a lot from us. They expect their garbage to be picked up in a timely manner. They expect the snow to be removed from the streets also in a timely manner. So I have to tip my cap to our team in Public Works. They did a terrific job, and I can't think of a better Public Works department in this region than the one here in Providence.
I mean, it's not an easy job. Conditions were extremely difficult yesterday, and now we're dealing with temperatures that are going to dip below the zero mark, and then of course we have these winds. So how do you think we can continue to improve the streets down here? I was surprised, to be honest with you, that there's street parking available. Okay. How do you think we can continue to improve as conditions deteriorate over the weekend, to maintain conditions throughout the city, because people still want to come downtown, they want to eat downtown. So if people, what's the message to people who want to come into the city but they're worried about the snow?
Yeah, I think the city has done a remarkable job of communicating with constituents via several media outlets and also social media platforms. The Providence Emergency Management Agency, coupled with our Public Works Department, has a presence now in social media, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, informing residents and visitors of what they can and cannot do in the case of a snowstorm like this. So just based on my little time that I've spent in downtown today, it looks like we're open for business. We encourage folks to come down, check out Providence, but I certainly understand and appreciate the concerns, especially with the dip in temperatures. So be careful, but at the same time, don't be afraid. I know there's a PC game tomorrow at the Dunks, so I'll be there, and there is available parking. So come out and enjoy Providence.
Yeah, we are open for business. That's always a concern. Okay, so let's move away from the elephant that's outside the room, the snow. Let's talk about other stuff that's going on. Let's talk a little bit about why you decided to make the move to City Council President. Like we mentioned before, you've been on the board since 2010. Why did you decide to make the jump?
Well, I think a majority of the City Council is looking to go in a different direction. Several of my colleagues did have discussions throughout the tail end of last year, and we're looking for something different. I think from a legislative perspective, we have a lot of opportunity to tackle issues that are important to our residents and the city as a whole. So I'm looking forward to a strong 2018, discussing those issues, and implementing new ideas and policies that are important to the people of Providence.
Okay, so you just mentioned new ideas, kind of go in a little bit different direction. Let's talk about what are some of the goals for 2018.
First and foremost, we have to remain laser focused on the city's finances. I think the administration and our finance committee on the city council have done a terrific job of communicating and reining in some spending. We have sustained surpluses for 2 fiscal budgets, consecutive fiscal budgets. We now have a very small reserve fund, but it is clearly remarkable, I think, the fact that we do have a reserve fund now compared to where we were several years ago. So I do tip my cap to our finance committee working closely with the administration to responsibly budget our city's finances. With that said, we do have to look at the long-term finances of the city. We do have a close to $1 billion unfunded pension liability. That's certainly on our radar, so that's something that we're going to have to discuss this year and years beyond. That coupled with development. Let's start talking about development in the city, where we can go, growing our tax base. I think the people of Providence are taxed out. We have now an opportunity, I think, to streamline what we do from a policy perspective in encouraging businesses to come into Providence to call their or expand their business to call our city home.
And it's interesting that you mentioned those specific goals. You've been an advocate and you've advocated for fiscal and pension reform since you came into office. How do you think your position serving as president, you could do things differently moving forward in this year?
Well, I think we're going to have the conversation again. We did make some systemic changes several years ago by eliminating very unsustainable COLAs that were granted to retirees at the time. It was great that so many of the different stakeholder groups came together collectively to make these changes. But again, we do have a $1 billion unfunded pension liability that we have to address. So starting that conversation now is going to be critical. So I'm looking forward to working with the administration and my colleagues on the council to start the conversation again and look at recommendations that are going to be fiscally prudent. Look, taxpayers, like I said earlier, they're taxed out, but we also have a responsibility to our employees, our current employees, and to our retirees to finally get this right.
Do you have concerns, while we're talking about money, do you have concerns about the state's budget deficits and how they might impact Providence?
No, we're always looking at the state and what their fiscal position is. Obviously, they're a partner in the city of Providence, and whatever we can do to assist, we're going to. But yes, we're closely monitoring what's happening at the State House.
Okay, I think we'll leave it at that. Well, actually, you know what? Let's move one further, because you said you want to look at bringing businesses into Providence. I always kind of keep my eye out on that. Like what's popping up. What would you like to see being brought into Providence, whether it's downtown or community abroad? We obviously have a hoppin' restaurant scene in Rhode Island, so we always like to see that. But what would you like to see brought into Providence, just if you had a dream or a goal?
Again, I think we have to make it easier for businesses to look at a city like Providence. We're the second largest city in the Northeast, so it's going to be important moving forward that we do streamline our processes, make it business friendly, so that almost any business would want to come to our capital city here in Rhode Island. So I don't think there's a specific sector. You mentioned hospitality. If there's one sector that we are great at, it is hospitality. Our food scene is great. Building new hotels in the downtown and district and other areas in the city. So that's going to be important from a hospitality perspective. But again, it's going to be our goal to make it easier for businesses to come into the city of Providence.
Great. Well, we look forward to seeing what's in the works for 2018.
Great.
We know that you'll come back.
Absolutely.
We know that you'll come back and chat with us more. Always a friend here. So thank you again for joining us on GoLocal Live. Everyone, hang tight as we get ready for our next guest here on GoLocal.